Is the stock market going to crash again? Are we expecting another huge decline like we did here in late March? Or do you think it's all uphill from here, Dave? Let us know what you think. Let me tell you, let's do it. Hey everyone, Dave K here today, and I've been hearing a lot of positivity and excitement around businesses reopening, and I think it is a fantastic thing. Businesses are beginning to reopen. The government's starting to say, okay, you can go out to these different types of businesses, maybe gyms that you haven't been able to go out to before. Depending upon what state you live in, there's different policies being rolled out because these policies are coming out at the state level. Depends on how your state is looking health-wise, what's already open, and kind of where the forward projections are in terms of people getting better or getting ill. And so these decisions are being made on a state-by-state basis, but overall, different states are opening up different facets of business and giving people more opportunities, for example, to sit in restaurants or participate in activities that we haven't been able to participate in the last couple of months. And there's a lot of positives to this, but there's also some scary factors of it, at least for me. See, although the number of new cases in the United States, and especially here in Florida, is starting to decline, or at least kind of leveling off, somewhere between a level off and slow decline, there's still a lot of cases out there. A lot of people are still ill, and therefore there is still substantial risk of someone getting sick if they're exposed to someone who is currently sick or maybe newly received the illness who doesn't quite feel those illnesses factors quite yet. So I think that there are some businesses here that are a little bit early in the reopening process, depending upon, again, where you're based. Some businesses, I'm thinking, don't need to be open quite yet. For example, I know people need to get their exercise in, make sure they're staying healthy, but I personally feel like I can do the exercise I need from home in doing push-ups and sit-ups and squats just in my own room, in my own space. Now, I'm not saying that anyone shouldn't be going out. Everyone's entitled to making their own decisions, but it does make me concerned that maybe a certain percentage of people who are carrying something but don't know that they might be ill could potentially spread something in that many more venues that they weren't spreading it before. Makes me worry that we're not going to continue on this slow downward trend since we're opening up a little bit earlier than I think we maybe should be. And of course, I want to disclaim I'm not an expert of any of this. I'm not an expert of health. I'm not an expert of finance and investment or the stock market. So don't take any of this as stock market recommendations, and also don't take any of it as necessarily health recommendations, again, because I'm no expert here. But I wanted to share my thoughts with you here today, and I'm a little bit concerned in terms of going out, and I don't really have to worry about myself because I don't feel like I need to go out to get anything. For example, I'm able to order what I need on Instacart. However, I do worry for others as they're going out and as they're going to different locations of that increased potential of getting ill. This begs the question, if we get a second wave of this illness, if we start to curve upward again at a really significant rate, how much longer will we be stuck inside? I'm thinking if we do open up too quickly, or if too many businesses open up and too many people are exposed, that's just going to cause us to be stuck inside for much longer than we want to be. It'll negatively impact us in that way in the longer term, as opposed to just kind of taking that hindrance in the shorter term of not being able to go to our gyms and then being able to open up everything that much more quickly. That's kind of my initial thoughts on it. See, my thought process is if we'd been completely cold turkey, no one's exposed to anyone else, everyone stays inside and has everything they need at home for a series of 4 weeks when this all started, we would be done with this by now, and it would have been very short-lived. But that's not a condition we have set up yet. Our economy isn't built in a way where you can get the health care you need from home, or you can have all of your groceries delivered to you with no one having touched those groceries, or coming straight from one individual who is very isolated from everyone else. Either someone went to the grocery store for you to pick up those groceries and was exposed to other people, or you went to the grocery store and were exposed to other people. So unfortunately, we don't have that infrastructure, but if we did, I feel like that cold turkey solution would have been amazing and helped us move through this condition very, very quickly, which makes me think about the future and how we might be building towards more of an online technology-oriented infrastructure in a way that we're communicating with others, in a way that we're doing business, and who knows, maybe this will help some of these technology companies in the longer term. I can't know for certain, but it does make me think about that. Another thought on this is the government is pushing money not only to individuals, but also providing loans and other income to businesses and money to businesses. And as much as this can be good in the short term for us as individuals to have the paychecks we need to get by, and good for businesses to be able to get by again similarly with their paychecks in the shorter term, it really does make me concerned in the longer term. Because if you think about how much of the economy, the global economy and the US economy is from consumer spending, from people like you and me going out to restaurants and eating some of our favorite food food items, or maybe buying theme park tickets and being able to enjoy some of our favorite locations, plane tickets or cruises, whatever you might be doing on a day-to-day, buying gasoline, paying for your car, buying new cars, or buying new toys, shopping. So much of our global economy, our GDP, is from consumer spending. And if none of us are able to work, or if many of us are cut from our jobs, and none of us are able to spend like we were before because we can't go out to those places and spend that kind of money, it creates a very short-term and non-sustainable solution for those businesses and for the government and for us as individuals. It's just a question of where did that money go, right? Completely dries up that continuity of money that was coming from consumers, therefore drying up businesses. Businesses aren't able to hire people, therefore putting more people out of work. I see it as kind of a vicious cycle, and if those more people are out of work, they're not spending, and kind of slowly each one pulling apart at each other unless some other solution interjects, right? And that's why the government is taking these steps to say, okay, we're going to go ahead and pay people, and we're going to pay businesses for now to try to keep things healthy and stable until we're able to open back up. Businesses will hire everyone else back, and we'll be back off to the races. But I'm hoping it goes that swimmingly. Of course, we're all hoping for the best, but I'm worried that it won't be quite that easy. See, one of the big questions I have is how many of these businesses are not going to open back up, or how many of these businesses are going to open back up at a much smaller scale than they were prior to this illness, okay? There's so many businesses that may not have made it through these conditions. For example, a lot of restaurants which may not have had the funding to be able to pay their bills for this time before they got the funding they needed from the government, or smaller businesses that were just trying to get started, which may no longer be able to support themselves. So this makes me really concerned about not only when things open back up and everyone's healthy, will there be so many jobs? Will some people who were furloughed during this time even have that opportunity to go back? Or those who were laid off, will they be able to find something new to be able to start paying their bills again and start supporting the economy all over again? And of course, if people aren't working, they may not feel like they have the money to invest, or they may just not feel like they have the stability to invest, and they may drastically reduce how much people are putting into the stock market, and you may even see people pulling money out of the stock market. They may need to sell some of their stocks or some of their other assets in order to pay their bills, and I can totally understand how that would be one of the first things that people would look to if they don't have a job in order to pay for those expenses is, let me pull out some of my stocks, as opposed to looking at something like, let me sell my house, because that's much larger scale kind of consequence to it, something that is worth so much more that you hope to preserve, whereas the stocks are more easily traded. So that's why I feel like there could potentially be a decline in stocks if people are selling their assets in order to pay their bills, in order to save money, in order to get by, and other factors like that which may lead to the selling of stocks. Again, not an expert on this matter. I can't say I'm an expert on the stock market or how things work from that perspective. Investment, finance, not an expert. I just do have a lot of interest in it, and these are the thoughts that come to mind for me in terms of why I'm concerned that maybe there will be another stock market drop. And it makes me hesitate, even though I am working to continue to ramp up my savings and to ramp up my investment and figure out where I'm putting that money in order to build myself some stability over the long term. Because if I'm investing right now and then everything crashes down, it makes me think to myself, I should have waited longer. I shouldn't have started investing at that point in time. So that's why I'm kind of thinking on this, and I'm concerned on this for investments for myself. I can't say for sure one way or another if I will continue to invest or at what rate. It just makes me concerned that these are the conditions as I'm thinking of ramping up that savings and that investment. And another question on my mind, and maybe on your mind as well, is where is a safe place to put my money right now? We know the stocks, maybe they're less stable than you're giving them credit for. Maybe you're saying, okay, I'm not going to invest in stocks right now. I'm going to scale back my investing. But then can you just keep your money in your savings account? We're seeing interest rates drop big time. The federal government is dropping our interest rates. We're almost at a 0% interest rate if you see some of the news. There's a bunch of other YouTubers who have made videos on the topic and what this means. But in the short, just kind of a short summary here, and the impact for you and me, or at least the way I see it, is this leads to a decline in the amount of money you get from your savings account. For leaving money in your savings account might drop. You might not see that same return, and you might even be charged for leaving money in your savings account. And to me, I say to myself, what? If we see a negative interest rate and now we started to get charged for the money in my savings account, there's no reason for me to leave money in my savings account. I feel like that'd just be burning money, whereas I could just as easily keep it in person right in front of me. And, I'd just be looking at it all day, and at least it wouldn't be actually burning and getting a negative interest rate like that would in my bank account if we saw negative interest rates and negative returns on our savings accounts. Now, this could potentially lead to a boom in stocks where people are saying, I don't feel like I want to keep this in cash. My savings account is not giving me any money, so let's go into stocks. Could lead to a boom, a substantial increase in prices of stocks, of real estate, or of other investments in the economy. But that would be kind of a short-lived increase in the value of those items, whereas people would be buying things but eventually would want some cash savings that they'd want in their savings account in the event of another situation like this one. So it makes me concerned that maybe it wouldn't make any sense to invest in some of those assets like real estate, like stocks during that time because they are overpriced. Truthfully, I have quite a bit of hesitation on this front because I feel like even now stocks have a high value where a lot of people are thinking the economy is going to be coming right back very soon, and I worry again of a second wave, or I worry about the future of this situation. I'm hoping things come back as quickly as people are predicting, but I'm kind of worried and cautious that they may not. So of course I've got my fingers crossed that everything goes back to normal and that I'm kind of wrong in this sense, but there's no way to know for sure, and I am concerned in that way. So I'm trying to be cautious, but I'm not sure kind of what the right steps are in order to be cautious to make sure I'm protecting my long-term savings and also building myself up towards my future. So can you see where I'm coming from on this? Can you see why I'm kind of concerned about what's going on, why I could potentially see a whole nother stock market crash ahead of us? I can't say for sure that I know what's going to happen. I definitely don't know what's going to happen, and I don't know what to do based on the current situation. Maybe there's investments in gold or silver or some bonds or something more stable, perhaps, than some of these stocks, but that's just one possibility that goes through my head, and I'd have to do a lot more research to figure out if those would be the right call for me, but that's just kind of the first thing that comes to mind. What did you think about this video, and what are your thoughts on the stimulation of the economy, the government putting that money in to stimulate the economy for people and for businesses? I'd love to hear your thoughts, and if you liked this video, make sure you also stimulate that like button, turn it blue by clicking on it if you enjoyed this video. Don't forget, if you haven't already, to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to stay informed of future adventures, and I'm looking forward to sharing so many more with you, ranging from news to stocks to whatever sounds like fun on a given day. Thank you so much again, and until next time, play on.